All right. Welcome back to the show. Today we got with us David Chen. David, welcome on today. Good to see you, brother.
Hey, my man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Today we're going to talk about, the most notable thing is FaZe Clan. You're one of the owners at FaZe Clan, which people may not even know what that is. But esports, they are like the king of the esports world. They've got an IPO coming out soon now. 10 years in the Big Four. You're at Deloitte doing a lot of stuff in China. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was one of the youngest managing partners in the world. I ran their whole China and Korea division for Mexico and Latin America. So about 80% of the companies from 05 to 15 I helped bring across the Americas, and spoke in front of presidents and board members. It was pretty cool, man. It was an exciting time.
Managing partner of GTIF Capital as well. You guys broadcast across 50 million monthly viewers in Asia and on iSun TV. Yeah, it's incredible, and I'm excited to have you on, David. It's gonna be a fun conversation. We'll try to bounce around a lot of things, but it's funny. I think America, is a little behind on this wave, at least in the mainstream America. On how big and massive esports is. Can you give us some numbers on just the size and scale of what we're talking about here?
Yeah, gaming as a whole and everything else, I think the biggest problem is when you're around my age, you played video games, you were the first one to set up an Xbox tournament with your friends online, and then if you're older, it was a waste of time. Like my parents told me, it was a big waste of time. So that's already the hardest thing. The second thing is, who the heck wants to watch these kids play video games? The same question is, why would you want to watch someone play golf or football or basketball, right? You want to learn, you enjoy its form of entertainment. So as your children are watching their phones for 80 hours, they're being influenced by FaZe Clan and these other big lifestyle brands. And now what is a athlete like a Bronny James or a Kyler Murray or Ben Simmons, who are part of FaZe, it's cool. It's a lifestyle. It is a new age going from there. And the gaming statistics are scary. Before the pandemic, they said it was going to be a $3 billion industry in 2023. After the pandemic, it's going to be a $200 billion industry in 2023. Jeez. So where else have you seen that goes $197 billion in an industry during a pandemic? The other cool fact is 67% of the world plays video games. 67%. So now there's no longer a religion. There's no longer a race issue. I'm a pretty good basketball player, but I meet someone who's 6'10". I ain't that good of a basketball player anymore, right? Just the fact that we weren't given certain size and things in DNA, it was very difficult to play in a competitive landscape. But in gaming, it doesn't matter if you're male, female, whatever you believe in. As long as you're good, you're good. And then the other cool part is there's all these different titles. So that really kind of helps as well. And on the competitive world, just like anything else that you value, if it's on a quality evaluation, if it's on EBITDA, at the bare minimum, it's the access to the viewers to shifting going from the brand. So when I joined in FaZe in 2017, what the numbers were, 10 billion viewers and 350 million subscribers.
Wow.
10 billion views. And the craziest part about that wasn't even that. It was when I put them in a Super Bowl commercial with Gary Vee's team. We did a Planet Fitness commercial that had A-Rod and Charlie Sheen, and our guy was in there for 1 second. He had more engagement than A-Rod and Charlie Sheen did combined, and Planet Fitness sales went up. That's power. That's real force, right? That's real notoriety. And, our people are from 34 and under, so that means the next 40 years we have clients.
Yeah. Yep.
It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life.
It really is incredible. I lived in Asia for a while. We talked about that. I lived in Taiwan, and when I was there, League of Legends is huge in Taiwan. At least everyone loves playing League of Legends. And I was like, oh, this is nice, whatever. And you have to correct my statistic. I was told that year I was there, they had their championship, world championship game or match, whatever you want to call it, had the same amount of viewers as the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the size. When people are listening, this is not some cute little, whatever game. This is legit. This is the real deal. And you are on the cutting edge of all of this. So let's talk a little bit about FaZe Clan. So FaZe Clan is, I think you said it great to me. You're like, this is the Lakers of esports. This is like the most pristine brand on the planet. And actually, really, I only know one esports team, and it's FaZe Clan, because you guys have done such a great job of your team and marketing. You got Bronny James, all these people. So how do you get involved with FaZe Clan? Do you just walk up one day and say I want to invest, or how do you approach FaZe Clan to get in? How did you become an owner?
What's really interesting is you talk about relationships in your podcast. You talk about adding value and doing the right things, right? That is the pinnacle of my beliefs. That is the pinnacle of doing the right things that matter. That is why you have the Wall Street Rebel, because what you believe in is what I believe in, which is doing the right things. And so I have a friend named Clinton Sparks, who's one of the owners of XSET, but at that time he was He was in FaZe Clan, and he's the guy who did Lady Gaga's Born This Way, produced it, really well-known, big DJ. We've been friends for 10 years at nightclubs and bars, and we stayed friends. And one day he goes, hey, I have this opportunity to join FaZe, and he tells me the numbers, and I said, what's the minimum and the maximum? Let's go. And I just joined it. I didn't think twice about it because KPIs are KPIs. Numbers are numbers. Numbers don't lie, right? There's fluff, and there's valuations, and there's foo-foo, and there's potential. But if you have those viewers of stats and you can see the vision and overcome the, oh, this is video games, somebody's watching it. Somebody has to do it. So that's how I joined. And, you know,
did you invest through your, just personally or through your, I know you have a venture capital fund. Did you do it through that or just personally?
I did through a very, very small fund that we put in to make that one work. And then I put my money into it, obviously, in the fund to make that happen. So It was really, really interesting because of the things that they were doing. And, you know, I kind of stepped back. You know, I see they're doing everything that they're doing right. You know, I'm just a very happy investor.
Talk me through your, you know, streaming platforms, viewership. I mean, that's the other side. And we sat down when you were out in Utah with us. We sat down, and so for people that don't know, David, you were here at the Black Card Summit. It was awesome hanging out. It was fun to meet you there. You talked about the ecosystem that you guys have created around esports. You were like, we not only own like the team, we also own, like, imagine like you own the sports team, you own ESPN, you own all the broadcast networks, like it's all in one. Right. And you've, I think, have even taken it to the next level of like, I want to control this ecosystem. So walk me through as far as the streaming platforms and your guys' shows and channels of viewership, how you got into that. Tell us the story. Actually, tell us the story behind that first. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, this is not a pitch, but if you get a chance to go to this Black Card Summit, it's the most amazing summit I've been to. I've met many, many people. Bridge and your team have done an amazing job. I can't wait to go to the next one. I highly recommend it. This is me telling you as a friend. That's it. I'm not getting paid. This is absolutely amazing. Bridger knows what he's doing. The second thing is, when I got into the esports space, after seeing it, I had a big problem with what was going on in the collegiate scene. There's no path to pro. And unless you can actually go pro and prove to mom and dad that you're going to make 6, 7, 8 figures, they're going to tell you to leave you alone. Now, most parents are not going to let you leave the world of college to go become a professional gamer, right? And there's a lot of you, but for the most part, it's going to be harder. So I recognize the necessity of college because we have a responsibility to make sure that we're teaching them the right things, that they're not just gaming, but they can learn other things like coding and content creating and public relations. And there's this whole ecosystem and industry that exists, like any industry, that you will need that are specialty markets that are there. Number one. Number two, when I saw that, I said, well, how do we do this? So I was speaking at a bunch of universities. I worked with 4 or 5 different university students that helped me co-found the NACL. And we first started off as a private, nonprofit collegiate league, and that was our idea. It was just to get sponsors, to give scholarships, to help kids fulfill their dreams. Our very first online tournament was League of Legends, and we had a guy sign with Drake's 100 Thieves. I mean, cool. We take people pro. We started doing combines, started doing high school. It matters. And people are like, well, I don't understand esports. Take out the word NBA and throw in the word esports, exactly what we do in a league. Take out the word NFL, throw in esports, what we do in a league. So we started developing that, and we started the need in Latin America.
And how much, let me cut you off. How much are these pros making? Like, just so people that are still new to this, like, you're saying, oh, I'm going to be a pro. Like, what does that mean as far as salary or income look like? Well,
let's talk about this, right? In the Fortnite World Championships that happened, that sold out in record time in New York. Let's say that part. And number two, the same year Tiger Woods had won the Masters, Tiger pulled in 2.3. Booga pulled in $3 million. Simple as that. In the big tournaments, they make more than Tiger Woods made in the Masters. Think about what I just said.
Yeah.
And he's 16. Unbelievable. Now you got pros that make money off of rosters, depending on what they're trying to do. The endorsement deals, the brand deals. It's no different than an NFL player or an NBA player.
That's incredible. I cut you off earlier. So you guys are running combines, trying to find and source the best talent for different teams. Now, do you guys get a brand deal with them or some kind of split whenever they sign? Do they pay to be in a combine? How are you guys compensated for that? Or you just do it as a service to just build more credibility?
We do it as a service to do it as credibility. We bring in universities that are going to give scholarships, so from high school to that level. We do it pro teams.
Wait, universities are giving scholarships, or you guys are giving scholarships? And
universities are giving scholarships. There's over 180 universities right now that give scholarships for esports.
Serious?
Oh yeah, man, this is big, bro. This is big.
Wow, and they play on the college team then?
Yeah, to play an NCAA college team. That's no
kidding?
different than those guys out there who play polo and they play lacrosse, right? But esports has a bigger viewership. And that's
Serious?
just the
That's
reality of
crazy.
it.
Wow. So how would, let's say this is a question for me, someone like me or me that's interested in getting in as an investor in the esports world, right? Like I want to play I believe in the industry taking off, or maybe I want to buy into a team. What does that look like from an investor in today, 2021? I know it's you heard about Drake buying a team a couple years ago and other people like you getting in earlier. As of today, what does it look like?
Look, this is very funny. This is very similar to crypto, right? I should have bought in the dip. I should have bought when it was 600. Oh, it's going to go down. I should have bought when it was 10,000. I should have. It's the same thing. I should have. You don't need to do the should have. What you need to understand is when it comes to investments, numbers are still numbers. That's simple. Demographics are demographics. KPIs are KPIs. It does not matter what industry it's in. Numbers are still numbers. Number two, who's going to be behind the actual investment, right? That's something that you and I obviously know is extremely important. Can you trust them? Do they have a track record? Do they have a vision? Do they understand it? That matters as well. So those two things are pivotal to me. But the time is now, and to look at, there are plenty of companies that are trying to position themselves in certain areas. We've been very, very fortunate enough because we are going to start another esports fund. This time, we're buying leagues, we're buying teams, we're buying apps, we're buying a little bit of everything to be part of the metaverse and to be part of this up and coming universe that exists and deal with content creators. So, we're doing that as well, but you can look it up and go from there. There's some great buys out there and some great people that are running it. And as long as that makes sense, then in the numbers you like, then you should look into it.
So let me ask you this. In just esports in general, you have, now this is the difference between, a little bit of difference between real sports, is you have evolving games that change, that will change rules, that will favor different players, new games that get launched, right? And so then you have a whole group goes there. So I guess that's a couple different questions. Number one, with the evolution of games, how does that work? Walk me through that, the evolution of games. Then we'll talk secondly about new games created and how you guys have to keep up and keep on the cutting edge of new games.
What's amazing about what you said also shows me how much foresight you have with things. And I love that because we had this conversation. Ted Hirsch, the owner of the Rangers, once told us at a meeting, he said, if the Rangers themselves as a baseball team exist, and if baseball died, what would happen to the Rangers brand? Kaput, right? Slower viewership, less and less. Teams are getting smaller. It goes kaput. But if the Rangers decide to do baseball, and they had the Rangers basketball brand, and the Rangers hockey brand, and the Rangers, soccer brand, what happens to the Rangers then? Well, they have 4 different industries within the ecosystem of sports to maintain the name and process. Esports is different. Now you replace the word baseball, and it's MLB The Show. Basketball is NBA 2K. Football is Madden, Call of Duty, Fortnite. If the game stinks, the brand still exists. They just switch games.
Really cool.
You see what I just said? They switch games. So you're hedging your bet at a much more safer rate because if I'm in a variety of games, then I have the opportunity to do a variety of different demographics. That's like me sitting there and saying, I have this big company, and within there, I have a show that's in Netflix and Hulu and NBC, and go from there. You're diversifying. That's the big difference. And then you can do specific games in specific countries that might be more popular in one country than another country. That's where it gets super unique. So that's the diversity spectrum of it, and that's how you can maintain your brand. So if a game title does not exist, but the publisher decides to make a league out of it, we make our adjustments and go from there, right? That's what all these gaming companies are very smart in doing, and they're working together with their communities to make that work. So that makes me super happy, and again, it hedges your bet and things that you're doing.
The growth potential is infinite at that point. Like, the Rangers baseball team, it can only grow as big as baseball. You guys can grow pretty much as big as the gaming industry, which jumped to $200 billion this year.
Right, which is why I'm so bullish on this metaverse and starting a fund, because now you can see the correlations. It is a constant demographic of existence that exists, and that's where it makes it very, very special, because it is such a different universe, and everyone keeps evolving in that direction, right? So you can plug in game, you can't plug in go ice skate if you don't have hockey skates, right? There's fundamental cost difference. So that's what I think is so cool about it. And then from there, you goes content creation and viewership and et cetera, and clothing. But it is super exciting. That's why you have all these big names. Robert Kraft owns a team. Mark Cuban owns a team. Michael Jordan, Shaq. Because they know one thing, which is ability to hit viewers, and that's what they're doing in the gaming world, man. It's crazy.
That's cool. I think there's probably some parents watching this right now. Like, did he just he just kind of convinced me that video games are good for my kids? Like, I should let my kids game and have fun, and just do it. And what do you say to like a parent that's, no, little Jimmy shouldn't game. He needs to be out, do other things. It's going to ruin his brain. It's going to be X, Y, and Z. What do you say to that?
When most kids play sports or after school programs, it's after school. And then what ends up happening is they go to dinner, and then on a Friday night or Saturday night, they go out from 9 to 3. And most of us who are young, we don't do things that are very smart from 9 to 3. Let's just be very honest. None of us do. And your kids will equally not do things that are smart from 9 to 3. So they'll be running around. Or do you want your kids sitting at home, talking to their friends, playing video games from 9 to 3 and not getting in trouble? Which one would you prefer as a parent? Number two, statistically speaking, gaming has reduced suicide rates among teens. We did an event with AC Green and his foundation. I sat on his board as well. Former Laker, right? Big man out there. The amount of kids that made testimonials that said that they felt included. They're not just talking about video games. They're talking about life. They're talking to their friends. They're doing it in their own way, in their own circle, where they feel safe and comfortable and not judged. And you want to throw them out on the street with the wolves? That doesn't make any sense. Now, that's the difference. Now you're like, oh, they're all day going from there. Your kid knows more about what's coming in the future than you can ever imagine. Just because you don't know it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist or people don't know it, right? That's what we say about crypto and everything else. So that's what it comes down to. What do you want your kids to be doing Friday night?
David, I know you've kept you long on here, and I think it's been fun to chat. I'll leave. I like to do this with guests. I'm going to leave the mic open for 2 minutes. Actually, real quick, plug what we're going to do. I want you to plug how people can find you, all that kind of stuff. And then I'm going to leave the mic open for 2 minutes. You get to say whatever you want. We can talk religions, politics, gaming, like business, whatever you want, just whatever final message you have for our audience. We'll do that. So first off, how do people find you? What's the best way to listen to your show and all that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. Yep. Pandanomics is on Apple and Spotify. You can go check it out. There's some really amazing guests. I'm going to get Bridger on mine as well. But you have top-notch people like Erlacher and the editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine, and Academy Award-winning director Domi Shi. But you'll learn that everyone has the same principle, which is they're nice, they're humble, they want to help people, and they do the right thing. It was never the path they thought. So that's really cool because these are friends of mine. It's commonalities. So you check that out. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter at David Chen Panda. Branding is a key. That's why I use the word panda. And that works as well. So next time you see a Panda Express, you'll probably think about me at this point, which has been great. And then, the thing I want to say is this, and it's a little bit off of probably what we're talking about, but I know the type of man you are, and I respect you so much. And so, I want to leave with this. Change is scary, and change is not fun. And it's hard to make change. And, if you look at statistically proving, the hardest thing to do is change. It's not the actual item. It's the fact that you mentally have to make that change and adapt to change. In fact, 70% of people don't ever do anything because they're afraid of change. I'm afraid too, right? Bridger might be afraid too. We all want to succeed, and we all want to do the best that we can, because ultimately, if it was all up to us, we'd be happy, healthy, rich, and the world would be a better place. Mm-hmm. But the world is what the world is, so we have to do what we have to do. So you have to make that change. And I tell two things that are important. One thing I tell people is if you never start, people will sit there and say you never did anything and that you regret the rest of your life. When you start, everybody has advice and tell you how to do it. Even the guy, the gardener, no, doesn't matter, but they all have advice to tell you how to do it. And now you're trying to figure it out. When you get to the top, now they say you've changed. You're not the same person anymore. You've changed so much. And when you retire, you're a has-been. So if I don't win when I start, and I don't win when I'm doing it, and I don't win when I'm on top, and I don't win when I retire, then the simple answer is I don't care what you think. I'm going to do it for me because I deserve to win, and I deserve to break the cycles of my previous generations to make the world a better place. It's simple as that. And with that, I leave it with this. You survived 100%. Now think about what I just said. You survived 100% of your worst days. Every time your heart was broken and you didn't think you could move on, you're still here right now listening to this podcast. Probably on a $1,000 phone and a $2,000 computer in some cushiony place. You are so beyond blessed. Be appreciative of it. Every time you failed, you came back. You won. You beat the odds over and over again. And every time you didn't think you could go, you did. You have survived 100% of your worst days. And that is why you will be okay with whatever you're doing. And those are my final words, my friend.
David Chen, Panda, everybody. Thank you. That was boom, baby. Boom. Little authority on that, too. I love it. Pandanomics. Go check him out on probably every platform you can find him. David Chen on Instagram. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure having you.
It's a blessing. I really appreciate it.
Okay. See you guys next time.